Hi, Yara Kubrin, Keller Williams Realty. So I want to talk about properties and their permit history. When we're purchasing a property, it's not uncommon to have questions about the buildings, the structures, the history of that property, when a building may have been built, and just a million questions that can come up. And so we have a place here in Sonoma County, and it's different in San Francisco and Marin, and I work in those areas, but I'm just going to use Sonoma County for this video. We have a place called PRMD, and PRMD stands for Permit Resource Management Department. And PRMD is where we go to review the microfilm, the permit history, have there been any code violations, sort of get a sense of that property and what has occurred over time on that property. Now, I'm not allowed to go to PRMD for my clients, gather information, and report back to them. What I am allowed to do is go to PRMD with my clients. We take a field trip together, we go grab a bite of lunch, and we go and we research the properties together. What I've been finding recently is that for a lot of my clients, there's a huge value for them, either because they're busy or they're out of town, in hiring an architect to go down, research the permit history, and create an abstract, an overview of the history of that property, and then also have a phone consultation with them. So I've got some great architects in my Rolodex, and what I've been doing is hiring them to go down there and really pull out all that information, do the research, create that overview, and then make themselves available to my clients to talk about their findings. And it only costs, $300-400 to do that, but it's a really, really good way to understand not just the condition of the property that you're buying, but the history of the property. Were there massive violations? Was there a fire and things were rebuilt? A seller is only required to tell a buyer what they know about a property. And sometimes sellers don't know a lot about the property that they own, or they haven't owned it very long, so they're only required to say what they know in the 2 or 3 years that they've owned it. So having a history and having either a field trip down to PRMD or hiring an architect to go down there and do that field trip for you is an incredibly valuable way to understand the history of a property and what has or has not occurred and whether a building was even permitted. Thanks.